Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Today, we are going to look at national tax policy. After that, we look at multiple taxation. So, our next week will be our last class. We are going to look at any other topic remaining by next week, and we do a general revision. So that we have time to read. Our last class will be by next week. So, this morning, we first of all start with national tax policy. What is national tax policy? National tax policy, they are the documents published by Ministry of Finance. This document was published by Ministry of Finance to provide guideline, rules, and modus operandi that regulate Nigeria tax system. So national tax policy provide guidelines, rules, and modus operandi that regulate Nigeria tax system. And they also form a basis for tax legislation and tax administration in Nigeria. So these documents, they are the ones that provide the rule and guideline that regulate the Nigeria tax system. This national tax policy now, before it was a policy, but now it has been signed into law by, it is now called Nigeria Tax Administration Act. So it is now called Nigeria Tax Administration Act, which they have made some amendment to it, and is going to commence by 1st of January 2026. But presently, what we are using as a tax guideline and policy is called the National Tax Policy. So this document was designed by the Ministry of Finance. So it gives out how the tax administration will carry out their function and their rules and so on like that. Objective of the national tax policy. What are the objectives of national tax policy? National tax policy, what are the objectives? Number one is to guide the operation and review of the Nigeria tax system. To guide the operation and review of the tax system. This is one of the objectives of national tax policy, to guide the operation and review of the tax system. Another one is to provide the basis for future tax legislation and administration. To provide the basis for future tax legislation and administration. So that is what another objective of national tax policy. National tax policy also serves as a reference point for all stakeholders on taxation. It serves as a reference point for all stakeholders on taxation. That means it's the guideline that the tax administration and the tax consultant need to follow. So this is one of the objectives of national tax policy. Another objective of national tax policy is it provides a benchmark on which stakeholder shall be held accountable. National tax policy provides a benchmark where stakeholder, those who have interest in tax, those who make law in tax, they will be held accountable. So this is one of the objectives of national tax policy. Another objective of national tax policy is that it provides clarity on the role and responsibility of stakeholder in the tax system. It provides policy. It provides clarity on the role and responsibility of stakeholder in tax system. So the role and responsibility of every stakeholder. What is the role of tax appeal tribunal? What is the role of joint tax board? What is the role of FRS? This national tax policy state the role. So, ladies and gentlemen, you may be asked, what are the objectives of national tax policy? What are the objectives of national tax policy? Number one, like I said, is to guide the operation and review of tax system in Nigeria. Another objective is to provide basis for future tax legislation and administration. Why another objective is to serve as a point of reference for all stakeholders on taxation, to serve as a point of reference for all stakeholders on taxation. Why another objective is to provide benchmark on which stakeholders shall be held accountable. To provide benchmark on which stakeholders shall be held what? Accountable. Another objective is to provide clarity on role and responsibility of stakeholders in the tax system. To provide clarity on roles and responsibility of the stakeholder in the tax system. These are the objectives of national tax policy. This national tax policy has three components. National tax policy has three components or elements. What are the elements or components of national tax policy? Number one, the policy guideline. We call it tax policy itself. And number two, tax administration. Why? Number three is implementation, tax implementation. So we are going to look at all those three elements of national tax policy one by one. We are going to look at all those three elements of national tax policy one by one. So, guiding the principle of Nigeria tax system, what are the tax principle, which is the tax guiding principle of Nigeria tax system? What are the principles of Nigeria tax system? These principles of Nigeria tax system means what are the canon of taxation? So principles of taxation. So we know we have principles of equity and fairness. Principles of equity and fairness talk about treatment of every taxpayer with equity, with fair and equitable. And tax should be based on ability to pay. We have another principle, simplicity, certainty, and clarity. Tax should be written in a simple and clear language that will be understood by the taxpayer. And we have conveniency. The means, the manners of which tax is collected should be convenient to the taxpayer. So we have that. And another principles of that we have under this national tax policy, guiding principles of Nigeria tax system that we have under this national tax policy is we have another one, low compliance cost. Tax should be the cost to comply with the tax law should be low. The financial burden where the taxpayer will comply with the tax law should be low. And another one, low cost of administration. Low cost of administration. What does low cost of administration means? Low cost of administration simply means the cost in which the tax authority used to administer tax, the cost in which the tax authority used for their management cost or for the cost of tax collection should be minimal. It should be reduced. And it should be based on cost effectiveness analysis. It should be in line with international best practice. It should be in line with international best practice. We have another one called flexibility. Tax should be dynamic in nature. It should be changing from time to time. Tax should not be something that will be rigid for so long. If there is any need or condition that warrant changes in the tax law, such changes should be made immediately. So sustainability, tax should be something that will sustain the economy, that will result into economic growth and development, that will ensure that governments generate revenue to provide more infrastructure development. So these are the guiding principles of Nigeria tax system. These are the guiding principles of Nigeria tax system. Let me repeat again. Under the national tax policy, so on the policy, when we talk about policy guideline, what are the guideline guiding tax policy? We call them guiding principles of Nigeria tax system. One of them is equity and fairness. We have simplicity, certainty, and clarity. Another guiding principle, we have conveniency. We have what? Conveniency. And we have another one called low compliance costs. We have another one called low compliance costs. And another one that we have is low cost of administration. Low cost of administration. And we have flexibility. While the last one we have is sustainability. So these are the guiding principles of Nigeria tax system. Now, the next heading we need to look at is tax as a tool for economic management and development. What can we, what are the, we want to look at taxation as a tool for what? Economic management and development. When we say tax is one of the tools of economic management and development, what do you mean? What we mean by that is tax as a tool of economic management and development means that tax, through collection of tax, will be able to achieve the following objective. Through collection of tax, we'll be able to achieve the following goals. So one of the goals, one of the tools of tax as a one of the goals of tax as a tool for economic management and development is that tax can result into wealth creation and employment. Tax can result into wealth creation and what? Employment. Tax can result into wealth creation and employment. So we use tax to provide employment. If government collect tax, government will use tax to build road, to construct more hospital, to construct more school. By doing that, some people will be employed. And tax, government collect tax to do empowerment to young people, to empower them, to provide vocational training to them. So by doing that, government is creating employment. Tax will also result into tools for economic management and development. So that is number one. Number one, what we mean by economic tax as a tool of economic management and development. Tax will result into wealth creation and employment. So under the wealth creation and employment, tax will provide employment to people, both local employment and foreign employment. Tax will ensure that there is equal investment opportunity. Tax will support small business. Tax will give incentive to some companies. So these are wealth creation and employment. So we are under the tools of taxation, taxation as a tool for economic management and development. So taxation as a tool of economic management and development. We want to look at another reason why we call tax as a tool of economic management and development. Another reason why we call tax as a tool of economic management and development is because of what? Because of taxation and diversification. Tax will result into diversification. Tax help us to diversify. Before, Nigeria heavily depend on crude oil, but with taxation now coming up, Nigeria can generate a lot of revenue from taxation. Nigeria government don't depend on crude oil again. They are now depending on, they are now having other means of generating revenue, like taxation. So it diversify, and taxation help us to diversify into other economic means like agriculture and so on like that. So tax boosts revenue for government. It boosts revenue for government. Government don't depend on crude oil again like they do in the past. They are now depending on other ways of generating revenue like taxation. So another reason why tax is a tool of economic management and development is that tax focus on indirect tax. The tax system now is now focusing on indirect tax. Indirect tax means value-added tax, stamp duties, and so on like that. Government now, they are now focusing on indirect tax. So government is now generating more revenue coming from indirect tax. Indirect tax, like value-added tax, stamp duty, we have electronic development levy, and so on like that. So another reason why we call tax as a tool of economic management and development is tax ensure that there is special arrangement and incentive. Tax ensure that there is special arrangement and incentive to some. Tax give incentives to some company. It attract foreign investors. So it ensure that there is establishment of free trade zone or export processing zone and so on like that. So that is that. Now, where we are going now, the next area we are going is responsibility of stakeholder. Under this national tax policy, one of the things that national tax policy state out is responsibility of every stakeholder in the taxation. Who are the stakeholders in the taxation and what are their responsibility? One of the stakeholders that we have in taxation is government. Government at all levels, either federal government, state government, or local government. We also talk about arms of government. So what are their responsibility in taxation? Relating to taxation, what is government responsibility? Relating to taxation, what is government responsibility? So one of the stakeholders we want to look at now, number one stakeholder we want to look at is government. We want to look at responsibility of government regarding to tax system in Nigeria. Number one is government. They are the one that will implement and review tax policy and law. Government, one of their responsibility is to implement and review tax policy and laws. Government, another responsibility is to provide information on revenue collected on quarterly basis. To provide information on revenue collected on quarterly basis. So this is one of their responsibility. Another one, to ensure adequate funding, administrative and operational autonomy of tax authority. To ensure adequate funding, administrative and operational autonomy of tax authority. Government, they are the one that fund FRS, LRS, Joint Tax Board, tax tribunal. They ensure that they have adequate funding so that they can perform adequate, the administrative function can be performed efficiently. So another responsibility of government is they ensure that a reasonable transition period of between 3 to 6 months before implementation of new tax law. One of these responsibilities as a government, if there is new tax law, you have to create a 6-month transition period where the tax law will start. Take, for instance, the Nigeria Tax Act, Nigeria Tax Administration Act, Joint Tax Board, Joint Tax Act, and so all those acts that were signed into law, they were signed into law at the end of the June or at the end of July. The government said it's going to be effective, and the effective will commence from January 2026. That is transition period. Government give a period where company will transit from the old system to the new system. So it's one of the responsibility of government. So now, what is the responsibility of a taxpayer? What are the responsibility of a taxpayer? Those who pay tax, what are their responsibility? The taxpayer shall be entitled to all relevant information for the discharge of tax obligation. Taxpayer shall be entitled to all relevant information for the discharge of tax obligation. Taxpayer shall be given a right for fair and impartial appeal. Taxpayer shall have a right to raise objection to decision or an assessment. Taxpayer have a responsibility to raise objection when they are being given assessment and they feel that the assessment is not reasonable. Taxpayer, they have the responsibility to ensure that they receive prompt, courteous, and professional assistance in dealing with tax authority. They have a responsibility to ensure that they receive prompt, courteous, and professional assistance in dealing with tax authority. So another responsibility of taxpayer is taxpayer, they have a responsibility for self-representation. They can represent themselves while going to tax office, or they can appoint an agent to represent them. One of their agents is tax consultant. Tax consultant or their lawyer can represent them in the tax office. Now, what are the responsibility of revenue agency? What are the responsibility of revenue agency? Who are the revenue agency? The tax authority by themselves, the FRS, the LRS. What are their own responsibility? They have responsibility to treat taxpayer as a customer. Revenue agency have responsibility to treat taxpayer as a customer. They have responsibility to ensure efficient implementation of tax policy, law, and international treaty. They have a responsibility to ensure efficient information, efficient implementation of tax policy, law, and international treaty. Taxpayers too, tax agency too, they have a responsibility to carry out tax audit and investigation. they have a responsibility to undertake tax awareness and taxpayer education. They have a responsibility to undertake tax awareness and tax education. They also have a responsibility to establish a robust process to prevent, detect, and punish corrupt tax officials. They have a responsibility to establish a robust process to prevent, detect, and punish corrupt tax officials. These are the responsibility of revenue agency. Now, what are the responsibility of a tax professional? Tax professional, one of their responsibility is to act in accordance with professional code of conduct and ethics. As a tax professional, you can be a member of ICAN. When you are a member of ICAN, when you are doing your job is going to be based on your professional ethics, professional code of conduct and ethics. So one of the responsibilities as a tax professional or tax consultant or tax agent or professional body like ICAN is to act in accordance with professional code of conduct. So another responsibility of tax professional is to act to actively promote effective tax compliance, is to actively promote effective tax compliance, to actively promote effective tax compliance. This is one of the responsibility. There will be the one that promotes anything that has to do with tax compliance. So what are the responsibility of the media and the active group? The responsibility of the media and the active group is they promote tax education. Responsibility of media and advocacy group is that they promote tax education and awareness. They promote tax education and awareness. Another one is they advance for accountability and transparency in the utilization of tax revenue. They advance for accountability and transparency in the utilization of tax revenue. While another responsibility of the media is to articulate, protect, and advance taxpayer rights. To articulate, protect, and advance taxpayer rights. One of their responsibilities is to ensure accurate, objective, balanced reporting in their professional code of conduct. To ensure accurate reporting, to ensure accurate reporting, objective, balanced reporting in their professional code of conduct and ethics. These are the responsibility of the media. Now, mandate, the administration mandate of the 3 tiers of government. What are the administration mandates of the 3 tiers of government? So this one means what are the mandates of tax administration. What are the mandates of tax administration? Number one is registration of taxable persons. Tax administration, they will be the one to register taxable persons. Another mandate is to ensure tax compliance. They ensure that all the taxpayers, they comply with the tax law. And another mandate of tax administration is to ensure technology and tax intelligence. To ensure technology and tax intelligence. So it's part of their mandate. Another mandate is to ensure what? Dispute resolution. Is to ensure dispute resolution. So these are the mandate of tax administration. Number one is registration of taxpayer. If a taxpayer want to register for tax now, one of the things is they will ask for their BVN, they will ask for their NIN. So that is the thing. And registration of taxpayer means if you want to do something in some government agency, maybe you want to collect your driver's license, you want to collect your international passport, you want to collect your corporate affairs commission certificate of incorporation, they should ask for your tax identification number. Those agencies should leverage on your tax identification number as a means for them, as the one of the condition for issuing you such documents. So that is that. So when we talk about tax compliance, how do we comply with the tax law? Is we should ensure that when an assessment is raised, we pay the assessment as at when due as a taxpayer. Tax technologies too. FRS should deploy a robust software for proper administration and management of the tax system. So dispute resolution, in case of dispute between a tax authority and the taxpayer, it should be resolved in a peaceful way or mutual understanding before we can approach court. Judiciary should be the last resort where we settle tax dispute. Before judiciary, we should look for other means of mediation that we can resolve even without going to court. Now, when we talk about implementation of tax, when we talk about one of the components of tax policy, national tax policy, is tax implementation. Who implement the tax law? How do we ensure that tax law is implemented? Under the implementation, we have to first of all look at the president and the governor. President and the governor, what are their responsibility to ensure that tax law is implemented? President will ensure that our governor, they will ensure that they sign the tax law. And secondly, they will ensure that our budget, we budget for revenue that we want to derive from tax at the beginning of every year. It's part of their responsibility. So what are the responsibility of the legislature? The legislature, they will be the one to pass the tax law. They will pass it into law. The tax law is going to be submitted to them. They will ensure that it become a tax bill before it will be signed by the president. So, and the legislature too, they are the one that will interview the head of the tax agency. If there is appointment of the FRS chairman, they will be the one to conduct the interview, to interview the person if president nominates somebody as a chairman. Ministry of Finance. Under the implementation, what does Ministry of Finance do? Ministry of Finance, they are the one that set a motion machinery for tax reform. They are the one that will square head tax reform. They are the one that will set up a committee for tax reform. Ministry of Finance, they will be the one to establish a tax policy implementation committee. They will be the one to establish a tax policy implementation committee. Ministry of Finance will also ensure automated collection and remittance of tax process. Automated collection and remittance of tax process. Ministry of Finance will also ensure that. Ministry of Finance, they will also establish an office for tax simplification. They will establish an office for tax simplification. So they will establish an office for tax simplification. So under the tax implementation, what are the role of INEC? INEC should ensure that those who are going for election, those who are campaign, one of the manifesto is to talk about tax, what kind of tax that they will introduce, or what kind of how they will generate more revenue from taxation. It should be part of their manifesto when they are campaign. And INEC should ensure that those who are going for election, they should show their evidence of their tax clearance certificate that they are a good Nigeria, they are paying tax. So these are under the tax implementation. Under the tax implementation, which is one of the components of national tax policy, what we are looking at under that is we are looking at under the tax implementation, we are looking at responsibility of some relevant agency like INEC, like Ministry of Finance, like legislator, like governor, president, and so on like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have on tax policy. So I have some question on tax policy that I've provided the answer. Please, we can take our time and look at those questions, especially question 3. I repeat again, question 3 and 4 should be our paramount role. Let's study question 3 and 4. Let's understand it very well. Question 3 and 4, let's study it. Let's understand it very well. So this is what we have on national tax policy. So after the national tax policy, we are moving to another area called multiple taxation. Multiple taxation in Nigeria. So the next topic is called multiple taxes in Nigeria. What do we understand by multiple taxes? Or multiple taxation? What is multiple taxes or multiple taxation? Multiple taxes is a tax regime under which various or similar type of taxes are imposed on a taxpayer on a taxpayer. Multiple taxes is a tax regime under which various or similar type of taxes are imposed on a taxpayer income by who? By different tiers of government. So what we mean by these multiple taxes is on one income, federal government collectors. On the same income again, state government collectors. On the same income again, local government collectors. You receive an income of 500,000. Federal government collectors on the income, withholding tax and value-added tax. State government collect personal income tax on the income. Local government collect land use charge on the income. On that particular 500,000, how much is it going to remain? That is called multiple taxes. A tax regime under which various or similar taxes are imposed on the taxpayer income by different tiers of government. That is multiple taxes. It's different from double taxation. Double taxation occurred where an income is subjected to tax more than one from hand of different tax authority in different countries. Double taxation involve two or more countries. But when we talk about multiple taxation, it occurs within just one country, within a country. But double taxation, it involves two or more countries. Type of multiple taxes that we have. What are the type of multiple taxes that we have? We have entertainment taxes. We have what? Entertainment taxes. Under the entertainment taxes, let me explain. When you go to a cinema to watch a movie, federal government, they have the National Censor Board, they will collect tax. In some states, like Lagos State, too have their own censor board. They will collect tax again on the same income. That multiple taxes. Road tax too is a multiple tax. Commercial driver, commercial bus driver, state government collect tax from them. Local government give them ticket every day. This is a multiple taxes. Another type of multiple taxes that we have permit for closure of street taxes. If you want to close a street for an event, you collect permit from state government. You also collect from local government. Referees collection tax is also a multiple taxes. Market taxes. Some markets, state government have their own tickets. Local government have their own ticket. That is multiple taxes. Car park permit fee is also a multiple taxes. Sales tax. Sales tax is also a multiple taxes. In some good, federal government collect value-added tax, which is a sales tax. Some states also introduce consumption tax. So when you go to an eatery to buy a food, under the invoice, you will see value-added tax. You also see consumption tax. It's the same. but they will charge it, they will charge value-added tax. State will also collect consumption tax. That is multiple taxes. Now, what are the causes of multiple taxes in Nigeria? What are the causes of multiple taxes in Nigeria? One of the causes of multiple taxes in Nigeria is lack of funding of government agency or state agency by state or federal government. Lack of adequate funding. Most of the agencies created by government, they are not well funded. What they will give, they will just give them a mandate to look for how to generate their revenue. So by virtue of that, they will now be looking for a way to generate revenue through taxes, through levies, through fee. This can result into problem. This can result into issue of multiple taxes. Some state governments, they deny their local government revenue. Another causes of multiple taxes in Nigeria is because some state governments, they hijack the revenue given to their local government. They will not them, they will not give them. They will be asking them to go and be looking for how to generate IGR. Lack of tax education and awareness. Most of people paying these multiple taxes, they are not educated. They are not aware that they have paid this tax to one tiers of government before. There is no need for them to pay to these tiers of government. So the fear of government authority is in their minds. Multiplicity of revenue agency. We have too much of revenue agency in Nigeria. This one we established to collect revenue. SDM, this GRR, a lot of revenue agency that we have in Nigeria just be doing mandate to collect more revenue. Overlapping taxing rights, as stated in the Constitution. Overlapping taxing rights of the taxes are levied. Some of the taxing right of local government has been hijacked by the state government, like tenement trade, like advert permits. All these are the taxing right of a local government. It has been hijacked. So it's one of the causes of multiple taxes. Another causes of multiple taxes is manual tax administration system. Manual what? Tax administration system. The system that we collect tax, especially at the state and local government level, is manual. It's not automated. So that can result into multiple taxes. Method of multiple taxes. Method that we use to collect multiple taxes. There are two major methods that multiple taxes can be collected. It's through mounting of roadblock. They will be on the road. They will be doing roadblock. You have to show us this receipt. You have to show us gate TBDs. Show us this. If you don't provide it, you pay penalties. This one is done mostly by local governments. They will put boys on the road looking for commercial logistic van, asking them to pay for advert permit, asking them to pay for gate TB, and so on like that. Another way, another method of multiple taxation is through the use of revenue agency, revenue agent, or consultant. Sometimes government will go and give some people contract. They call them revenue consultant. Please help us to go and be collecting revenue from the rural area. And those revenue, they are not properly accounted for. They are multiple taxes. Impact of multiple taxes on Nigeria business. What impact does multiple taxes have on Nigeria business? One of the impact of multiple taxes on Nigeria business is it make business to be very cumbersome to operate in Nigeria. Because of too much of taxes, most of the business are paying. It makes it difficult for them to do business. So, and in the long run, they will not have option than to evade tax. Multiple taxes result into high mortality rate of SME in the country. Multiple taxes result into high mortality rate of SME in the country. Multiple taxes. Most of the small business, they don't stay long in Nigeria. They cannot withstand the test of time because of these multiple taxes. As a result of that, you have 2 million to do business. Out of the 2 million, government have already asked you to come and pay 1 million tax through multiple taxation, either to federal government, either to state government, either to local government. What is the balance for you to do business? Nothing left. So most of the SME, one of the reasons why they die down as early as possible is because of multiple taxes imposed on them by government. Another impact of multiple taxes in Nigeria is it discourages foreign direct investment. Most of the investors that are willing to come and invest in Nigeria, they are being discouraged because of the problem of multiple taxes. How are we paying tax that we cannot account for, that government cannot give report on it, or through illegal means? The ultimate lead, another impact of multiple taxes in Nigeria is the cost of multiple taxation reduce size of capital stock or aggregated output. The cost of multiple taxation reduce size of capital stock or aggregated output. These are the impact of multiple taxes. What are the possible solutions to multiple taxes in Nigeria? What are the solutions? Because multiple taxes is a problem on its own. What are the solutions to multiple taxes in Nigeria? Government should review the current statutory provision to delimit the scope of taxes and levy collected by each tiers of government. Review the current statutory provision in Nigeria to delimit the scope and possible solution to problem of multiple taxes in Nigeria is government should ensure that they make available adequate funding, make available to local government all revenue from federation account. All the revenue coming from federation account that is accrued to local government should ensure that they make it available to them. They should ensure adequate funding of various agencies and departments of the state government. They should ensure adequate funding of various agencies and departments of the state government. They should ensure adequate funding of various agencies and departments of the state government. They should review the constitution to address overlapping taxing right of different tiers of government. They should review the constitution to address overlapping taxing rights of different tiers of government. Government should maintain an updated database of taxpayers in Nigeria. This is another solution. They should maintain an updated database of taxpayers in Nigeria. They should limit the number of revenue agencies that we have. Limiting the number of revenue agencies that we have is one of the solutions to multiple taxes in Nigeria. They should ensure automated tax collection process. They should ensure automated tax collection process. this is also a solution to multiple taxes in Nigeria. So now, what are the taxes and levy collected by federal government? What are the taxes and levy collected by federal government? One of the taxes and levy collected by federal government is company income tax, education tax, petroleum profit tax, value added tax, capital gain tax for corporate bodies, stamp duty for corporate bodies. All these are the taxes and levy. Custom duties, SI duties, technology tax. All these are the taxes and levy collected by who? Federal government. So let me repeat again. Taxes and levy collected by the federal government, company income tax, petroleum profit tax, education tax, value added tax, stamp duties on corporate bodies, custom and excise duties, capital gain tax on corporate bodies, technology tax. All these are the taxes and levy collected by who? Federal government. What are the taxes and levy collected by state government? Personal income tax, capital gain tax for individual transaction, stamp duty for individual transaction, road tax, business premises registration, development levy, right of occupancy, market taxes. All these are the taxes and levy collected by who? Collected by state governments. What are the taxes and levy collected by local government? What are the taxes and levy collected by local government? Shop and kiosk rates, tenement rates, marriage and birth certificates, registration fee, slaughter slab fee, naming of streets, registration, motor park levies, domestic animals license, motorcycle license, television and radio and television license, illegal park fee. All these are the taxes and levy collected by local government. Advertisement permit fee, signboard and advertisement permit fee. They are the taxes and levy collected by local government. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have on multiple taxation. So, as we are getting to the end of the syllabus, by next week will be our last class. We'll do general revision and any other remaining topic. So, thank you for having me. Do you have any question? Do we have any question? So, in the absence of no question, I can call it a day. Thank you for having me.